Okay. Good morning, all the students present here. So let us start with our lecture. So before we proceed to chapter number 2, let us take a small recap for whatever we have done so far. Okay. So the very first we have started with definition of IoT. Okay. So initially I have said that in very simpler terms, IoT definition is divided into three parts where I stands for internet, T stands for things, and together it is called as IoT, that is Internet of Things. Okay. So when we talk about internet, every one of us know that it is a public network. It helps us to connect with remote servers, cloud servers, other platforms. Basically, internet does what? It helps us to send, receive, and communicate the information. Okay. Next comes is your things, wherein if I talk about things, it in context of IoT, things is nothing but an entity or a physical object. So that is your things. And when I take all together IoT, that is nothing but a network of physical objects that are embedded with electronics, software, sensors, actuators, and that allows connectivity to your objects, your physical entity, and thereby we can exchange the information. Okay. So that is your IoT. As per IEEE, IoT is defined as network of items, each embedded with sensors and which are connected to the internet. So in your exam, you are expected to write IEEE definition as well. Okay. Next, when I conclude IoT, when I sum up IoT, we can say that physical objects plus sensor actuators and controllers plus internet, that is nothing but your IoT. Okay. Next topic which we had covered was features of IoT. So when I talk about features of IoT, the very first feature is AI. Second is connectivity. Third is sensors. Fourth is active management. Fifth is devices. So these are your all 5 features of IoT. Next, when I talk about major components of IoT, these are the major components. First is your thing or device. So when I talk about thing or device, that is nothing are your physical objects that are actually embedded with actuators, controllers, okay, and that helps you to sense the data from the environment. So there are many type of sensors. There are pressure sensors, there are moisture sensors, there are humidity sensors, there are RFID tags. So there are many sensors which exchange the information or which takes the information from the environment. Next comes was your gateway. When I talk about gateway, it refers to nothing but it manages the bi-directional traffic between your different networks and protocols that work over the internet. Next, when we talk about cloud, that is nothing but a efficient way of storing your IoT data in real time. Because when I talk about IoT, all the data is in a real time, and in IoT, the massive amount of data is being generated from the devices, applications, and users. So in that case, you really need a big storage medium. So for that we use clouds. Okay. Next, we have analytics, that refers to nothing but analysis of all the data which is stored in the cloud. So basically it is process of that converts your analog data from billions of smart devices and sensors which it has collected. Okay. And later on it can be referred as detailed analysis of your data, and that will help you to make any decisions. So that is your analytics. Okay. Last, major components is your user interface. So when I talk about user interface, it is something through which your customer or the user is going to interact with the system. So you have to always make sure that your user interface has to be very simple, it has to be very user friendly, and all over it you have to take care of one thing, that it should be compatible with most of the wireless standards. Then only it will be more acceptable by the people. Okay. So we have to take care of few things when we consider of designing the user interface. So that's all your major components of IoT: thing or device, gateways, cloud, analytics, and user interface. Let us move to the next. Next comes is your chapter 1. That is the very first topic of the chapter 1 is your flavors of IoT. Okay. So when I talk about flavors of IoT, that is nothing but the applications of IoT where the IoT can be used. Okay. So the most common ones, the ones which are actually known by us and we are familiar with its working. So I've taken those ones. So the very first is your smart home. So when I talk about smart home, everybody knows that smart home refers to as home automation system, wherein with the help of your app, you are controlling the entire home. Okay. So always remember there is a Lodha builders, those who have come up with this concept of smart homes. Okay. Second is your variables. Everybody knows that variables is one of the most prominent or potential application used by every one of us. Okay. There are many variables. The most common one and the most renowned one is your Apple Watches. Okay. Next is your smart city. So when I talk about smart city, when it automatically manages the traffic, waste management, it helps in environment monitoring, it helps in reducing the air and noise pollution, that is called as smart city. Next, when we talk about smart grids, it refers to your electricity grids are being monitored, they are being distributed evenly among the people, that is called as smart grids. Okay. Next comes is your industrial internet. So when I talk about industrial internet, it refers to when we are using IoT. Okay, that is called as industrial internet. So in industrial internet we are using IoT, we are using machines. One of the most potential industrial internet application can be your healthcare. Next we come up with connected cars. So connected cars is something which is enabled with features like you will have sensors, you will have Wi-Fi, you will have security cameras, you will have embedded softwares. Okay, so one of the example of your connected car can be your BMW. Next comes is your connected health. So when I talk about connected health, it is also at times referred as IOMT, where IO stands for Internet of, M stands for medical, and T stands for things. So this is one of the most application area in this healthcare, wherein now they have smart sensors into their system, which automatically tracks the health of the, you can say people, and the information can be directly sent to the doctors, and doctors can accordingly suggest. So that is your connected health. Okay, so you have your wristband, you have your Fitbit band. So this all are there, which really helps you to keep connected with your health, let you know about your health, what is the information, and that same information can be given to the doctors for further processing. Okay. Next comes is the smart retail. So when I talk about smart retail, it refers of using smart retailing techniques with IoT. So in this year, you will have tiny embedded cameras that will capture the user preferences, their taste, and accordingly they will let you know or give you the analysis of your retailing. So that is your smart retailing. Next is your smart supply chain. So when I talk about smart supply chain, it refers to cameras or the sensors can be embedded into the goods, so that whenever the goods in the transit, you can able to understand whether it has reached safely or not. The more care is taken when you are transiting any fragile good. So it helps you to track your goods, it helps you to manage your inventory, it helps you to generate the reports. So that is your smart supply chain. Last is your smart farming. Okay, so when I talk about smart farming, it refers to using IoT in farming. So far, if to be very honest, this is not has been come up into the picture as of now. It is still under the research, but we are looking forward that we will have soon smart farming, and this will really help our farmers to make the things easier for them in terms of sensing the type of the soil, to manage the data, okay, to know what type of soil can be grown. So that all comes under your smart farming. Okay. So apart from this, you are also expected to write the reference book flavors of IoT. So the very first reference book flavor of IoT is your alarm ring. So what it is saying, as soon as you open your eyes, you see that your alarm is ringing, and it says you that the train which you are supposed to get is 5 minutes delay. So it tells you that you can sleep more 5 minutes. So that is your alarm ringing. Okay. Second application is, for example, if you have an habit to forget your tablets, so as soon as you go into the kitchen, okay, there is one light which rings there is one light which keeps turning on and off, and which reminds you that it is time to take your tablets. Okay. Next application in your book is, for example, you have, if you have forgot to take your medicine, so your medicine bottle cap goes online and it emails your doctor that you have forget your medicine today. So it does like this. Okay. Next is your umbrella handle. For example, if you have an umbrella that is embedded with sensors, so it automatically goes online, checks the weather with BBC reports, and tell you or predicts the weather for today. It can be rain, it can be sunlight, whatever is the weather, it will accordingly tell you and it will predict for you. Okay. Last example was, for example, big large displays you have. For example, so in that case, what you have to do, as you go to your bus stop, you are waiting for the bus, so there is a large display which tells you that today the bus is going to be delayed. and it is stuck somewhere else, so it tells you that you find some another option for it so that you don't reach late. So this is the few applications which you have to write in your exam. So very first place you have to write the applications of the reference book, and then you have to write the applications, this all which is mentioned here. If you name them also, that's all fine, that you can do with it. Okay, let us move to the next. Next was your technology roadmap. So technology roadmap was nothing but that how the technology have changed so far in the year. What is the transformation that has taken place in technology? Okay, so when I talk about at the lowest level around in the years 1960 and between 1990, the communication was between the host. We had just host, we had just computers that used to be communicated with each other, or that used to be connected with each other. Okay, that can be your LAN, local area network, wherein you can connect your host computers within a specified area or within that specified region. Okay, next between 1990 and 2000 they have come up with internet. So when they have come up with internet, the communication has become more broad, it has become wider. So they have come up with, you can say, a wide area network or metropolitan area network, wherein you can connect with the help of internet, you can connect geographically. Okay, now between 2000 and 2010 they have started with internet not only on the devices but the internet on the mobile phones. So now the communication has become more flexible, it has become more portable. So now you can have all what you used to have in your PCs over your mobile phone or various handheld devices, that can be your tablets, that can be any devices which you can carry with you all the time. So that was mobile plus internet. Next, in 2010 and 2015, they have come up with more devices. Okay, so that is mobile plus PC plus people. So you can connect more people over this device at a single point of time, and the connectivity is going to be very broad in nature. Okay, last in 2015 and 2020, we have come up with the concept of IoT, that is Internet of Things, wherein you can communicate with your devices and your devices are working as smarter for you because they are sensing all the environment information, collecting that information for you, helping you to do task more easy and simpler. So that is called as Internet of Things. So that is here at the highest level in between 2015 and 2020. We have connection between every objects. Okay, so every objects which you are dealing with, when it is augmented with internet, it becomes an Internet of Things object. So everything which has sensors, actuators embedded into it, and it is working as a smart system for you. So that is called as Internet of Things, that is IoT. Okay. Next topic which we had studied was enchanted objects. Okay. So enchanted objects was very simple. According to Dave Rose, he says what? Every ordinary object, okay, when it is augmented or when it is given the power of technologies, okay, technologies like your wireless technologies, that becomes more extraordinary, then it is called as enchanted objects. So his definition is what? Enchanted objects start as ordinary things. It can be a pen, it can be a wallet, it can be a shoe, it can be light bulb or table. So ordinary things, when it is augmented and enhanced through the use of emerging technologies like your sensors, actuators, wireless connection and enabled processing, it becomes extraordinary. So according to his definition, every object when connected with internet becomes an extraordinary. So he has come up with the six human desires. That is, first is what? Omniscience. Second is telepathy. Third is safekeeping. Fourth is immortality. Okay. Fifth is teleportation. Fifth is expression. So when I talk about omniscience, it means in short, desire to know all. When I talk about telepathy, it is desire for human connection. When I talk about safekeeping, it refers to protect and to be protected. When I talk about immortality, it refers to be healthy and to be vital. When I talk about teleportation, it refers to moving freely without any physical constraints. And last is expression, that is you can create, you can make and you can play. So desire to do anything, that is your expression. Last topic which we had seen in the chapter 1 was your who is making the Internet of Things. Okay, so when I talk about who is making the Internet of Things, there are many people working for it together. Okay, so important point here is everybody is not working individually, but everyone is working together as a team. Okay, artist is doing the sketching task, craft person is doing some crafts into it, adding some colors, adding some ideas into it. Designer is designing as a front end designing of the system. Engineer is working with data, how to store over the cloud, how to manage the data, how the data will be stored, how the interaction between the system will take place. A developer will help to write the programs into your embedded systems. Okay, it can be your software programs, it can be hardware programs. Okay, and there will be also a hacker that will help you to know that which is your weak areas of the system which really need to be take care. Okay, so these are all people who are working together as a team to make IoT as a system. Okay, so without that you cannot do anything. So that is called as who is making IoT. This all the people are there together. Okay, next we'll start with our chapter number 2. Okay, we had completed chapter number 1 with a quick recap, wherein in your chapter number 1 you had only the basic of IoT. What do you mean by IoT? When you are thinking of IoT as a service, so what are the features? Okay, what are the major components of IoT? So next topic which we are moving to the chapter 2, which says what? Design principles for connected devices. Okay, as we all know that in IoT we are going to be connected with devices. Okay, there will be multiple devices which we are going to connect it with at the single point of time. And when I talk internet, which is a public network, at times you are connected with anonymous devices also. So whenever you are connected with anonymous devices, there should be some design principles. You cannot just readily connect to any devices at any point of time and start exchanging the information. No, you should not do it, because then your privacy concern becomes a big matter. Okay, so whenever you are designing any principle, whenever you are designing an IoT system, you have to have some principles. Okay, principle for all the devices that you are connecting with. Okay, so in this chapter we are going to look few of the design principles for connected devices. What are devices themselves we are going to see here. Okay, so we are also going to see what do you mean by privacy with respect to IoT, how you are going to keep the secrets, how you're going to have your confidential data. Okay, what do you mean by web thinking for connected devices? What do you mean by small pieces loosely joined in IoT or in any component? What do you mean by first class citizens on the internet? What do you mean by graceful degradation? And the last topic is what is affordances. Okay, so in this chapter 2 we are going to see each of them in detail. Let us start with the very first topic. So my very first topic is calm technology. Okay, so at times it is also referred as calm computing. Okay, so when we talk about word calm, what does it mean? Okay, in very simple terms, when I talk about word calm, it refers to silent. Okay, the very first thing when we hear about word calm, what we say? Silent. Okay, so the same term is applied here whenever any technology is doing something quietly for you. Okay, without asking or seeking attention from you, that is called as calm technology. Okay, I'll repeat again. Calm word means what? Silent. Okay, so calm technology means what? Any technology that is working quietly for you without asking your intervention, without asking or seeking your attention, that is called as calm technology. Okay, so this computing technology was come up from a researcher called as Mark Wieser. Okay, which he says that he feels that computing systems are complex in nature. Okay, though we know they are complex in nature, we should assume that they are simplified complexities. Okay, we should not assume that they are difficult complexity. So if we have assume it as simplified complexity, so things will be easier for us and we will not introduce the new complexities into it. Okay, for example, if you think any problem as simple problem, then this will not help, this will actually help you, and the new problems will really not come up because you are taking each problem as simple problem. Similarly, in technology we should also take every problem as a simple problem. Okay, if you take things simply, new ones will not be introduced. Okay, so this was his concept wherein he felt that computing systems are simplified complexity, but we should not introduce new ones. Okay, so let us see what does he says more about it. He has defined calm technology as system which don't vie for attention, yet they are ready to provide utility or useful information when we decide to give them attention. Okay, so calm technology are those systems which does not seek for attention, which doesn't tell you that give me attention, then only I'll give you information. No, These are those technology which will work quietly for you, calmly for you, okay? And whenever you give them attention, they are ready to give you information, okay? So that is your calm technology. So Mark Wieser have come up with this definition. In exam, you are expected to write this definition. That is Mark Wieser definition of calm technology, okay? Let's see what is next. So what are the 8 principles of calm technology? So when I talk about calm technology, what are the 8 principles which we have to look into it? Okay. So the very first principle says what? Technology should require the smallest possible amount of attention. Okay. That is what your calm technology is, to be very honest. What does it tell? That technology should ask for smallest amount of attention. It should not tell that you keep talking with me, then only I'll give you information. It should be less amount of interaction, but more amount of information should be there. Okay. So when I talk about this more in detail, what does it mean? Technology should communicate with you, but it doesn't need to speak. Okay. So communication can be in a form of anything. It can be in a form of sensor lights. It can be in a form of a message. So communication can be in any form. Okay. But it doesn't require you to have interaction with you. So it can give you any indication, and accordingly it can do it for you. Okay. Communication can be created to different senses. You have many sensors. So with the help of the sensors, the system can communicate with you, and that is your calm technology. Instead of replying back, interaction with you with voice commands, it is going to give you any type of signal. And using that signal or sensing mechanism, it will tell you. Okay. Communicating the information without taking the user out of their environment or task. So in calm technology, it works within your environment, and according to that environment, it will give you the results. Okay. Second, technology should inform and create calm. So when I talk about calm technology, it should inform you of each and everything, but quietly. Okay. There should not be a big buzzer sound which tells you that your battery is running low. It can quietly also tell you by indicating with lights or by sending a message. Okay. So technology should inform you and create calm. Quietly, it should do it. Okay. It doesn't need to be loud to tell or give you any information. Next, third, technology should make use of peripheries. Okay. So when I talk about periphery, it refers to it should make use of your environment as well. Okay. It should sense your environment. It should not be always having entire attention over you. It should sense the information from the environment as well, and it can keep moving all the round. It can have information from environment. It at times it can have an attention over you as well. So it should keep moving all the time. Okay. The attention should not be just at one place. Okay. It can be at multiple places at single point of time and capturing the data. Okay. Next, fourth, technology should amplify the best of the technology and best of humanity. So when I talk about this, you have to every time keep this in the mind, that whenever you are designing any IoT structure, your IoT system, the technology should be designed for the people first. Okay. You have to not design the technology with very high level. It should be very simple. You should think that who are your end users, who are going to use your system. So designing for the people first is very much important in this principle. Okay. And you really cannot expect that your machine should always act like humans. Okay. Machine should act like a machine only. Don't expect that machine will act like humans. Okay. So whatever you are incorporating into your system, every part of your incorporation should be best of the technology. Okay. You should see the best part of technology into your system. If you are using a sensor, the sensor should work very properly. It should give the best result, best information. Everything should be best whatever you are incorporating into your devices. So you should take care in the fourth principle that there should be a proper balance of technology, where every technology will be amplified at the best level, as well as it should be best of humanity. It should be designed with the perspective of the people for whom you are designing. Okay. You should avoid going for high level designing. You should make your system more simpler so that it can communicate with people easily. Okay. Let us move to the next. That is your fifth. Technology can communicate but doesn't need to speak. This we already have done with it. So it means what? Your technology can communicate with any message, with sensors, with lights. It doesn't need to speak. Okay. So that is called as technology can communicate and doesn't need to speak. To be very honest, Our product should not always rely on voice only. It can have different mechanism also, since we have embedded sensors, actuators, so there can be other mechanism also for communication. So we should not always rely on voice only for communication, because to be very honest, if you're relying only on the voice and during cold and cough, if your voice changes, then in that case that technology will become difficult to communicate, isn't it? So you should have other mechanisms as well for communication. You should not just only rely on voice, because now most of the system have become voice recognition system. No problem, it is good, but the downside of voice recognition system is what? If you have colder cough, then the system will not recognize your voice. So in that case, what will happen? The technology had to have some alternatives also with it. Okay, so calm technology takes a step ahead in this, wherein it does not rely on only communication, but it takes the communication in other form. Okay, by intimating you that this has to be done. Next, sixth, technology should work even when it fails. So it is very, very much important that your technology should work in or at times of failure as well. Okay, if your system fails suddenly, then there should be some backup option, there should be some alternatives, there should be some options with you, wherein if it fails, then what can be your recovery mechanism. Okay, because there is a possibility when you are talking internet as a service, there can be breakdowns, there can be at times when your system may be down. So you have to consider this designing principle as well when you are designing. Okay, next, seventh principle, the right amount of technology is minimum needed to solve the problem. Okay, don't think of making your devices very much smarter. Okay, let it be as it is required. Whatever is required in balance amount, have that only into it. Okay, whatever information is required by the system to solve minimal problem, that only it should be embedded into it. Okay, don't go for very smart system. Okay, because if your systems are very smart, your users also need to be trained accordingly. Okay, so there has to be a proper balance. The technology has to be properly into the system, wherein it can solve minimum level of problems. Okay, so you should design in that way. Last, the last your principle 8, that is technology should respect social norms. Okay, it is very much important that your technology should respect the social norms. Social norms is the social environment where we all are living. So technology should not violate your social environment, it should not violate your social rules. Okay, so it is very much important that technology should start introducing more of humanity into it. Okay, rather than just being a technology. Okay, so this is your 8 principles. We'll just take a quick recap. Principle 1, technology should require the smallest possible amount of attention. Principle 2, technology should inform and create calm. Principle 3, technology should make use of periphery. Principle 4, technology should amplify the best of the technology and best of humanity. Principle 5, technology should communicate but doesn't need to speak. Principle 6, technology should work even when it fails. Principle 7, the right amount of technology is minimum needed to solve the problem. Principle 8, technology should respect social norms. So these are your 8 principles which are need to be considered when you are designing your calm technology. Okay, let us move to the next. What are the examples of calm technology? Okay, so as we have already seen, calm technology is what? Something which quietly works for you. Okay, it doesn't seeks your attention, or it doesn't tell you that give me attention, then only I'll work for you. So the very first example, it is tea kettle. Okay, to be very honest, if a technology works well, we can ignore it, isn't it? So a teapot does what? Okay, when it is ready, it's turn off, it quietly rest for the time. Okay, and it can be set and forgotten also until it sings. Okay, sings means it gives you some tone, that is called as singing. Okay, so it really doesn't require that you have to always keep your attention to it. It quietly does the task for you. So that is your tea kettle. Okay, so once the tea is ready, it will give you a sign, it will sing, or it will give you any kind of you can say intimation that it is ready. So when it is doing something quietly for you, it is a part of calm technology. Okay, second is your laboratory science. Everybody knows that whenever we are traveling in the plane and whenever we want to go to a restroom, this is the sign here, that is your lavatory signs. So this signs, just by seeing only you understand what its meaning. Okay, it doesn't really needs any translation. Just by seeing it calmly, it is doing, the technology is doing its task. You understand what it means to say, what it wants to say you. So that is your lavatory sign. That is your second example of calm technology. Okay, third example of calm technology I have taken here is Roomba vacuum. Okay, so Roomba vacuum is nothing but a cleaner that cleans your house. Okay, it doesn't have any spoken language or it doesn't have some voice commands. It just has simple tones. Okay, so according to the tones, you will understand what state it is into it. Okay, when it completes the task, it gives a choppy sound. Okay, when it has stuck somewhere in between, it gives a big loud sound. Okay, and in between if there are any problem, then it gives you orange and green lights. So that is your Roomba vacuum cleaner. Okay, so it doesn't use any voice commands for communication with you or interaction with you, rather it uses some sensors. We can use some lights or it's use some tones. Okay, so when it doesn't use voice commands, you doesn't need any type of conversion. Okay, so it becomes very easy for you. Last, smart badge. Every one of us must be knowing it. Okay, these are very small wearable technologies that doesn't even require the chargers. Okay, just you have to touch your smart badges to either a door or elevator panels, and then it allows you to access to your rooms. Okay, so that is your smart badge, which is one of the calm technology. So here I have taken 4 examples of calm technology. If you want, then you can add your own examples as well, no problem into it, but you have to explain that what it is doing for you. Okay, so there is a tea kettle here, there is a lavatory sign, there is Roomba vacuum cleaner, and this is your smart badge. Okay, let us move to the next. There is one case study that is called as Livewire, which you all have to do it yourself. So please note down this case study name, Livewire, wherein you have to go through this case study, and in the next lecture I will randomly ask anyone and will tell you to explain. Okay, so all the quick case studies which are there in the reference book, you are expected to do it yourself, and in the next lecture I am going to ask about it. Okay, so please note it down, the case study, that is the Livewire. Next, we are coming to the next technology, that is your ambient technology. Okay, so in contrast to calm technology, ambient technology is a technology that asks for attention. Okay, maybe a little attention or little interaction, but it definitely asks for the attention. Okay, so when I talk about ambient technology, they are also referred as ambient computing. Okay, and they require interaction with the user. As we all know that there is a cognitive shift, and the user have to started adopting the computers. So now the users have also started learning commands, and according to the commands they are interacting with the system or a computer. Okay, so when you interact with the system or the computer with the help of commands, okay, that can be referred as ambient intelligence. Okay, so intelligence here, what refers to what? All your electronic environments, sensors, actuators that are very sensitive and responsive. They are taking the information from the people at real time and storing it. So that is called as intelligence here. Okay, so remember that ambient technology is also called or also referred as ambient computing or ambient intelligence. Okay, at times it is also called as UBCOM. UBICOMP. So when I talk about UBCOM, that is nothing but ubiquitous computing, where you are using your small handheld devices for exchanging the information. Okay, so in ambient computing, we always use combination of technologies. That includes your voice, that is your speech recognition, that can be your haptics gestures, some of the concept of augmented reality, some of the environmental factors, your wearable devices, okay, your cloud computing. So all IoT and all this are tie up together with artificial intelligence, and together it makes an ambient technology. Okay, ambient technology, what has come from the word ambience. Now what do you mean by word ambience? Environment. Okay, I want this ambience, I want to create such environment. So for creating that ambient or environment, you need some set of technology. So that technology which are working together to create an ambient for you is called as ambient technology. Okay. So let us see that what Mark Weiser says about ambient technology. Okay. He defines ambient technology as most profound technologies that those disappears and they weave themselves into the fabric of everyday life until they are indistinguishable from it. So these are those profound technology, okay, that are those which disappear. Disappear means what? Which comes, they seamlessly do the task for you, effortlessly do it for you, okay, and they are actually into the everyday life of us, okay, they are actually into everyday life of us, okay. So we know about this technology, we know about it, we learn few things from this technology, we understand, and we are actually into it until they are indistinguishable from us, okay. So that is your ambient technology. So two common examples of ambient technology are your Alexa and Google Home. These two technologies, as every one of us know, that they are competing with each other. Okay. So basically they are what? They are your voice assistants that actively interact with you all. Okay. They also interact with other devices in the environment. And according to your voice commands, according to your instructions, they create an ambience for you. Okay. For example, if I want to listen a calm song, so I'll tell the system to play this song. So according to my commands, it will play the song. So according to my commands, it will create an ambience. Okay. That is why they are under ambient technology. Whatever you give the commands to them, they will create ambience for you according to that command by searching it over internet and doing it for you. Okay. So these are the two examples, that is your Alexa and Google Home. Okay. Even you can say the self-driving cars can also be an example of your ambient technology, because you are actually into a self-contained ambient, okay, wherein you are controlling with your voice everything, the ambience, everything, when you are controlling it, and according to that the ambience is created, then that is called as ambient computing, or which can be done into your self-driving cars. Okay. I don't know how many of you know, but there in 2015 there was one Hollywood movie that was Her, Her, Her. Okay, in that movie they have used the concept of ambient technology. Okay, what was it? I'll just give you in a short. What was it all about? There was an ambient computer, okay, that interact with its owner all the time. Whatever he used to say, it used to do accordingly. So the owner used to like it, okay, because it used to do whatever it tells it to do, because it is a system, right? Whatever you will tell it, it is going to do in that way only. Okay. So the interaction between the computer and the owner was so well that the owner started falling in love with that system. Okay. And slowly, when he was so much connected with the system, finally there was a time when there was a technological shift. So that particular technology was about to replace with the other technology. So in that case, how he breakdowns, how he understands about the technology, every emotions is very well depicted into that movie. So I will suggest you all that when you have a free time, go to YouTube and search for the movie. Okay. The movie name is Her, Her, Her. Okay. So that is your ambient technology. Hope you all have understood ambient technology. Whenever you are creating an ambience with the help of the voice commands, okay, that is called as ambient technology. It is also referred as ambient intelligence, and it is also referred as UBCOM at times. Okay. Next topic which we are going to study today is your magic as metaphor. Okay. So whenever you talk about word magic, what the first thing comes in our mind? We say magic is nothing but a mysterious power that helps or that make us believe that any impossible thing can happen if you do some special actions, and those special actions are nothing but when you tell some special words that are called as spells. So whenever somebody used to tell about magic, we used to always say that how this magic takes place, what do you mean by magic here? Okay. When somebody says that you tell these words and then the magic will take place. So in similarly, the words to that is your mysterious and impossible things are only the thing which always comes into your mind. Okay. Somebody says you now, जादू हो जाएगा तुम ये word बोलो. Okay. So at times when something happened like this, you also are into the state that ये बोलने से कैसे हो गया, how does that happen? Okay. So at times you are very much mysterious, and you start thinking that kaise ye possible hai. Similarly, when you convert the same thing into the technology with adding or with augmenting IoT or internet, you are making all your ordinary objects as extraordinary, and those extraordinary objects aren't working as magic for us. Okay, a watch which was just intended for telling us the time, now when it has turned to smartwatch, it is sensing the environment, it is giving the data, it is giving my health information. For me it is a magic only, right? That how it is doing all everything, though there is a foolproof system behind it, but the people, those who don't know the actual working for it, for them it is a magic only. Okay, so magic means what? How the technology has transformed itself, how the technology has changed, and with this technology, how the new things have come up into the picture, how the interaction seamlessly and effortlessly is taking place. So that is nothing but your magic. Okay, when you talk about word metaphor, okay, when I talk about word metaphor, magic is metaphor. So metaphor is nothing but the element which is working as a magic. So in our case, there can be any object that is working as a magic. It can be a smartwatch, okay? It can be your pens, anything which is working as a magic. So metaphor is nothing but the element which was ordinary before, but now since you have added some magic to it, you have added some, you can say, technology over it, it has become a extraordinary. So that is nothing but magic as metaphor. Okay. So there is one researcher who has come up with his quoted lines. Okay, he was Arthur C. Clarke. He says that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Okay, so any advanced technology is just like a magic. Okay, because it is doing so many things for you without you telling it to do, without your intervention, and it is managing also. It is not just doing, it is making the things very easy for us. So any sufficiently advanced technology, any technology which is very much advanced, okay, it is just like a magic for us. Okay, so that is your magic as metaphor. There are some important, you can say, points also into it. There are more concepts also into it that we are really going to have into the next lecture. Okay, so for now I'm going to stop with this. I'm going to continue with this topic again in the next lecture more in detail, because there are few examples to be given or quoted here which will not happen now. So we'll just take a quick recap whatever we have done today. Okay, so in today's lecture we have understood what do you mean by calm technology. Okay, it was concept which was coined by the researcher Mark Weiser. Okay, and he has come up with this definition that calm technology are those systems that does not vie for attention, but that yet they are ready to provide utility or useful information when you decide to give them attention. We have seen the 8 principles of calm technology. Okay, next we have seen the examples of the calm technology. Tea kettle, which is like automatically when your tea is ready, the according to the sign you will come to understand. Lavatory sign, okay, it is there usually in the plane whenever you are in the restroom. Roomba vacuum cleaner that works on the basis of the tones. Smart badge, it is a smart system wherein just you have to tap your card with the door or elevation and it allows you to access. Next, case study liveware, which you have to do it yourself. Next, we have come up with ambient technology. Okay, so ambient technology is something which requires interaction with the system. The interaction can be in the form of voice commands. Okay, Mark Weiser says that ambient technologies are those technologies which have weaved themselves into our everyday lives, and they are there indistinguishable from us. So we are indistinguishable from it. The examples for your ambient technology are two. That is your Echo, Alexa, okay, that, and second is your Google Home. Both of them are voice assistants which takes the voice commands, and according to the voice commands, they create an ambience for you. Okay. Last topic which we have taken just in a small part of it, that is magic as metaphor. So for now, you just remember magic of metaphor refers what? How your ordinary objects are turned into the magic, and metaphor is nothing but the element which has created the magic over it. Okay, so that's it for the day. We'll stop here and we are going to go more much in detail in the next lecture. Thank you everyone.